status of City of Johannesburg manager Floyd Brink is once again before the High Court. The DA lodged an urgent application to have his reappointment declared unlawful and unconstitutional. But the Metro Municipality's multi-party administration argues that the matter should be struck off the court roll because it's not urgent. Now, joining us for more on this conversation is City of Johannesburg DA caucus leader Belinda Kayser-Echeozonjoku. Belinda, a very good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Kwena, and good evening to the viewers.
This is one of those stories that I guess refuses to go away. From your perspective as the DA, just give us why this particular challenge, and again, we're seeing it back in court.
Yeah, one of the reasons why we took it back to court, because there's a previous court's judgment in this regard where there were clear directives given. And the City of Johannesburg has once again, through the council, bypassed processes and abused council processes to do a behind closed door decision for something as important as the appointment of an accounting officer, which is in the public interest. And we believe they're in contempt of court because there were clear directives, and it's urgent because the longer he stays in office, decisions are being made, and some of the decisions can be influenced and people can be intimidated, as we have seen over the past couple of weeks.
Now, is this more about, Belinda, more about the politics behind it, or, as you say, it's a question of the procedures that have been followed? Or we can't divorce politics from this, even if we wanted to?
Of course, you can't divorce politics from procedures, but irrespective of that, procedures need to be followed. There are rules of council. There's a court judgment on the matter, and we believe they should have followed what the court has said, which is re-advertise the position. There's nothing that stopped the city from, getting an acting city manager in place in the meantime while they are advertising for a city manager. So we don't believe it's about politics. I'm sure you and I can agree, and the residents can agree, we cannot, as a city, we can ill afford spending this much, hundreds of thousands of rands on litigation where the process can be followed that is fair and transparent, and use that money for service delivery, because the service delivery is collapsing in the City of Johannesburg, and by the way, under the custodianship of this city manager.
So from your perspective, the issue is not necessarily who the city manager is, but it's the procedures that were taken in, I guess, reappointing him to the position.
100%. And we're also arguing that if there is nothing untoward with this appointment, what stops the city from re-advertising, and also why did they mislead council by not giving all the information in the programming committee and told the programming committee that this is a progress report, and a progress report would normally not have recommendations for approvals when it comes to council. It's for noting to just give progress on a court case. To our surprise, we were asked that it's in committee, big report that was still incomplete, and there were recommendations for approval, and we all now know what those recommendations were. So we're saying that it's not about the individual, it is about the process, and it can set a very bad precedent, especially with a city as important as Johannesburg, with an 80 billion rand budget, where people are crying for service delivery, and the city is spending money on litigation.
So what relief are you seeking from the court in this instance? Is it just about redoing things, and what other aspects of this are you looking for as the DA?
We want the council is, who made this decision, to be held in contempt. We actually want also the individuals who allowed these reports that are incomplete and that bypass processes and misled council to also be held in contempt of court. And that is basically what we are asking for. what is concerning is that we have previously said as the DA, one of the reasons why we do not believe in changing mayors is going to change the process. We want the whole council to be dissolved. And you can see exactly what we are talking about now. Money is being spent on frivolous issues that can be corrected very easily. But while you and I and all the residents of Joburg are crying for service delivery. So we're saying they must be held in contempt. And this is urgent because the longer Mr. Brink stay in that office, we're already hearing of people being intimidated. And that is very concerning for us. And that's why we're even saying that he should step aside until this process, this court matter is dealt with, if truly he believes that everything was done correctly.
So as far as the issues of performances and contracts of employment, will you also be challenging that in terms of them, I guess, being declared unlawful, as it were?
We've previously said, Kwena, that we are also going to challenge the fact that he's made decisions while he's been unlawful and unconstitutionally appointed. Obviously, if the process was not done correctly, then how can any decisions that you've made also been correctly when the court has obviously declared that? So, of course, we will be looking at some of the decisions and scrutinizing some of the decisions that he's made, because we believe that there are some sinister issues happening behind the scenes, because it cannot be that a city of Joburg, who's collapsing under his custodianship, is willing to put the residents' services at risk and defend one individual when they could do a fair and transparent process and give others an opportunity to also apply, and he can compete with everybody else, since the court has declared that this should be done from scratch again.
How confident are you of success in this matter as the matter goes back to court?
Well, judgment have been reserved today. I was in court today with our attorneys, and we are confident that, the court, the rule of law will be upheld, because obviously everybody's eyes is on Johannesburg. It's the economic hub of the continent, and it's what it's become is very, very concerning. We are bleeding investment from the city towards the Western Cape, and it's a concern for us. So we are very, very confident that we've made a good case, and we're waiting the outcome of the courts now.
To the point that we made earlier on when I asked whether this is specifically about the procedures or Floyd Brink in this instance, should the court rule in your favor, would you be comfortable again with Floyd Brink if the procedures are followed coming back, or would you rather have somebody else as the DA?
We don't have, remember, the appointment of a city manager is apolitical. It's not a political appointment. So irrespective of what we want, there's a process that needs to be followed. And you can't really say whether you prefer this person or you prefer that person. There must be, what we are saying is there must be a fair, transparent process that gives everybody the opportunity to apply for a metro as big as Johannesburg. So it's irrelevant what we want as the DA. It's irrelevant who we want as the DA, because there's a process that needs to be followed, and that process obviously needs to be transparent and give everybody an opportunity that are suitably qualified and that are fit for purpose.
And finally, Belinda, I mean, the issue, and you touched on it a few times, the issue of service delivery, that while all these things are going on, while there's a to and fro in court from this side to that side, it's the people of Johannesburg that are suffering in this instance. So how quickly do you think this should be dealt with so that we can start looking into the real issues that affect the people on the ground?
You know what's concerning for us, Kwena, is that the administration should run like a machine, clockwork. And it's unfortunate that we currently have a city manager who first look at people's political and councillors' political affiliation when complaining about service delivery. I can show you, screenshots and emails, and that is what we are very concerned about, that this process, he should step aside, let this process be done as quickly as possible, have an acting city manager, be appointment. There are very suitably qualified, officials currently in the system, and service delivery should continue, whether there is a permanent or an acting city manager, and it's a failure from his end that services come to a standstill while we are having this litigation against him. And that's another indictment, in our view as the DA, against this current city manager, because he's politicizing service delivery and withholding services from certain wards while ensuring that other wards get services. Those are some of the concerns we are having, and we hope that this issue will be dealt with very quickly. That services can continue like normal, because it's collapsing under his leadership at the moment.
Belinda, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.